Today we are going to discuss predicate logic. We have already discussed about propositional logic. So in the topic of propositional logic, we have seen that how to represent systems using propositional logic. But unfortunately, in propositional logic, we can only represent the facts which are either true or false, right? This thing you have to keep in mind. So propositional logic is not sufficient to represent complex sentences. Now, if you ask me this question, that is, what do you mean by complex sentences? See, I'm just writing one example, that is, some humans are intelligent, or the person, say ABC is the person name, or AAB is the person name who likes cricket. So this is one kind of complex sentence. Now, if you try to use propositional logic and try to convert it, this kind of conversion is not possible using propositional logic due to the existence of this keyword some. So what we can do? So we have to study predicate logic. This predicate logic is also known as first order logic. Both are same. Means whenever I'm talking about first order logic or first order predicate logic or predicate logic, all concepts are same. So what is this first order logic? You can see that this first order logic is another way of knowledge representation in artificial intelligence, just like propositional logic. Now you can see that this first order logic is an extension of propositional logic. We are not learning something new, but we are creating one extension by which we can represent knowledge in artificial intelligence in more precise manner. So whenever we are talking about first order logic or first order predicate logic, first we have to understand what this first order logic will follow to represent things in the real world. The first concept is known as object. So in first order logic, what is the concept of object? If I am talking about people, or if I am talking about some numbers or colors, or if I am talking about some A, B, C, something like this. So all these concepts are considered as objects in first order logic. Now we have the second component, that is relations. So in case of relation, we have two kinds of relation. Either we can represent unary relation or we can represent n-ary relation, right? So unary relation means what? When I am talking about some color, see, something is red in color, something is round in shape. So some component is adjacent to another component. So this kind of concepts are known as unary relation. And what is this n-ary relation? See, whenever I'm talking about A is a brother of B, so I'm representing a relation between two entities. So in this case, whenever I'm talking about relationship among two or more entities, brother of, sister of, this kind of relationship comes under n-ary relationship. So relations are another component that is used by first order logic. Now we have another component which is known as function. Now, in order to understand function, we have to discuss some topic. So, whenever we are talking about function in programming language, how can we represent this function? We will write a function name. Then within bracket, we can write some parameters or argument, right? And then we will have some function body. But here the function name can be anything. We can write f, f1, anything as per our choice. So whenever you are using function in first order logic, it will not look like this. It will look like this, the function name, and then within bracket you can write some constant. And this kind of functional representation are known as fact representation. So whenever I am talking about fact representation, then you have to understand that this is the syntax of fact representation, where this is the function name and here you can write any number of constant. Now, in order to understand this concept of function, that is fact, we have to discuss something in more details. So, let's start the concept of first order logic in more details. See, why we are using first order logic? I have already explained that whenever we are dealing with some complex sentences, that I have already given you some example that two or more sentences are there, some there exist, this kind of words are there. So it is very difficult for us to represent it using propositional logic. So what we will do? So we will use first order predicate logic. Now if you ask me this question that what is the main importance of this first order predicate logic, I can tell you that like natural language, first order logic also uses the concept of syntax and semantics. This concept is used in FOPL and syntax semantics concept are also used in natural language. Now the first question that should come in your mind, so what is the syntax is all about? See, the syntax of this first order logic determines which collection of symbols is a logical expression in first order logic. Means the basic syntactic elements of first order logic are symbols. See, whenever we are dealing with some alphabets, what is this alphabets are all about? In order to construct any sentence, you need to know the alphabets. Alphabets means what? These are just like a symbols. So, in order to represent some first order predicate logic, the basic component is known as symbols, right? So using these symbols means which collection of these symbols will create any logical expression. This is known as syntax. So syntax represents what? Basically in FOPL, which collection of symbols can be used to create meaningful logical expression. It is determined by the syntax. So I will give you some more example. But in order to understand this concept, you have to understand some other components of FOPL, just like constant. So we can use constant in FOPL. Constant means name of a person, say Ravi, or say name of some place, say Kolkata. Or if I'm writing 1, 2, or A, B, C, D, this kind of alphabets. So at this point of time, you have to consider all of them as constants. So constants means some kind of proper noun that we are going to use in FOPL. Apart from them, we can use some variables also. Variables means what? Variables means X, Y, Z or A, B, anything. So this kind of variables can be used in FOPL. Apart from them, I have already explained that we have the concept of function. Function means, say you are writing somebody is a brother of someone. So I will write brother underscore of function name, then A is a brother of B. This is how we can represent the function. And remember one point, I have explained that this first order logic is an extension of this predicate logic. So some concept we will borrow from predicate logic. So we will consider connectives. Concept of connectives over here means we can use the concept of connectives for predicate logic as well as we can use them for FOPL. So connectives means and or not implication, bidirectional implication, everything we can consider over here, right? But what we have to learn over here, which is new concept, that is concept of quantifier. this concept of quantifier exists in case of FOPL only. And what are the different quantifiers available over here? All there exist. So today we will focus on these quantifiers because these are the elements which will help us to represent some complex statements which consists of some word like everyone, something. So this kind of words can be clearly represented by these quantifiers. So we will focus on these quantifiers. But apart from these quantifiers, all these concepts we can use which are basically borrowed from the predicate logic. So we have already used this concept in case of predicate logic. So now let's start the class. So what we are going to do today? See, whenever we are going to represent any statement, we know that the very basic statement is known as atomic sentence. Now, what is the basic concept of atomic sentence? See, atomic sentence means they are the most basic sentences of any kind of logic. So here we are talking about first order logic. So atomic sentences are the most basic sentences of first order logic. So these sentences are formed from a predicate symbol followed by some parenthesis with a sequence of term. Now try to focus on this. So whenever you are going to represent any atomic sentence using first order predicate logic, you have one syntax already defined. So how your syntax will look like? So the syntax will look like this. First you have to write the predicate, and then within parenthesis, round parenthesis, you have to write some terms. Say term 1 to up to term n you can write. So basically, whenever I'm talking about functions in predicate, actually I'm talking about this syntax where this predicate means the function name and the term means the constant or the person name or the place name that we are going to use. So I'm giving you one example. So what we are going to study right now? So we are going to study first order predicate logic. Means why we are studying this first order predicate logic? So whenever some English sentence is given to us, we are going to convert it into FOPL. So we are starting from atomic sentences. Say I am giving you one simple example, that is, say the person X is a brother of say person Y. Right? So how can I represent it? So here the syntax is first you have to write the predicate and then you have to write the terms, means the constant. So here which one is the constant? X and Y are the constant. So X is a brother of Y. So X is the first term and Y is the second term. And what is the predicate? Predicate means brother of. So the function name will be brother underscore of. Now you can ask me one question, that is, what is the concept of predicate? It is not clear. Now I am giving you one trick. So this is the simple implementation, but in order to understand this implementation in more details, I am giving you one good example. See, say there is one sentence which is written as X is an integer, right? So this is atomic sentence. Okay. Now, how to represent one atomic sentence? You have to write the predicate and then the terms. So first you have to understand whenever a particular sentence is given to you, which part is the predicate? So we know that whenever a sentence is given to you, we have two parts. One is subject. Subject means I am talking about X. And Rest of the part is predicate. So this concept is also used in natural language. So this is the concept of predicate. Now how to represent it? So in order to represent this concept, we have to use this syntax. So now what we can write? So we have to write the predicate and then we have to write the subject. So here predicate is an integer. So here you have some option. You can write it as it is an integer. This is a predicate. And which one is the integer? Which is the subject? X. X is an integer. So this is one kind of representation. But I have already explained that the function name can be anything. So you can also write integer x. Same meaning. So instead of writing is an integer, you can also write integer x. So both are correct. So this is the actual meaning of this kind of representation. So whenever any atomic sentence is given to you, first try to find out which one is your subject and which one is your predicate, and use the predicate as function name, and then use the subject inside the parenthesis, round parenthesis, and this is also known as fact representation. So I'm giving you another example. Say dove is a bird. Now what you have to represent, this is atomic sentence, so you have to represent it in terms of first order predicate logic. Now, what is the rule of representing first order predicate logic? So this formula you have to keep in mind. The predicate and the terms. So first you have to understand what is predicate and what is term. So term means it is also known as subject. So now let's try to convert it. So whenever any atomic sentence is given to you, first divide it into two parts. First part is the subject. I'm talking about dove, and rest of the part is predicate, right? So once we have identified the predicate, so we can use this syntax. So what is this syntax? I can write it as first the predicate. Which part is the predicate? Is a bird. It is a predicate. So I will write is a bird. And then within bracket, what I have to write? I have to write the subject. Which one is the subject? Dove is the subject. So this is the representation which uses this given syntax. Also, alternatively, at the beginning of the class, I have explained that function name can be anything. So instead of writing is a bird, alternatively you can write bird dove. So this is how any atomic sentence can be represented using this simple syntax. So I think it is clear, whenever any atomic sentence is given to you, try to identify which one is the subject and which one is the predicate. Then everything is very much easy, because predicate will be the function name and subject will be written inside the parenthesis. Right? If you have more than one subject, then you can use comma to separate these subjects. If you have only one subject like this, you can directly write the subject name. So this is how any atomic sentence can be represented by this FOPL, first order predicate logic. Now we will go into some more details. See, we have done atomic sentences, but what is our topic of discussion? In the beginning of the class, I have explained that we are concerned about this universal quantifier and existential quantifier. Now you can ask me one question, okay, what is this universal quantifier and existential quantifier? See, I have explained that whenever we are dealing with first order predicate logic, it means quantifiers are already there. And these quantifiers are so powerful that they can represent many complex statements. And we have two types of quantifiers, right? So now we have to understand what is the concept of universal quantifier and what is the concept of existential quantifier. So once it is done, then we can easily represent any complex statement or sentence using FOPL. So let's start with the universal quantifier. Say I'm giving you one example. All men drink tea. So this is the statement. Now in this statement, see, this is the subject and this part is the predicate. But see, here we have one extra word, that is all. So whenever you have this kind of scenario, you have to use universal quantifier, right? What is universal quantifier? I will tell you. Now consider another example. Say I'm just writing some girls are intelligent. See, again, I have the subject over here, girls, and are intelligent are predicate. So what is this? Some. So in order to represent this concept, what I need existential quantifier. So in a particular sentence, we have subject, predicate, and sometimes we have some word that can only be represented by this quantifiers. So depending on the situation, we have to understand which quantifiers to use when. Now the next question is, what are these symbols? So whenever I'm talking about universal quantifier, then the symbol will be this one, all, for all. And whenever I am talking about existential quantifier, the symbol will be like this. Now, what is the concept of this quantifier? I will tell you. So, let's consider this example. All men drink tea. So, how can I represent this one using quantifier? This thing is important. But try to understand the meaning of this sentence first. All men drink tea means whenever I am talking about a person X1, this man drink tea, and whenever I am talking about another person, this man also drinks tea. So this thing will continue up to Xn. He also drinks tea. So all men drinks tea means if I take x1 to xn number of variables, everyone drinks tea. So we have and connective over here, right? So whenever we have this kind of scenario, we need universal quantifier. Then alternatively, what is the difference between universal quantifier and existential quantifier? See here what I have written. I have written that some girls are intelligent. It means what? Say X1, say it is a girl, is intelligent. Okay. Or X2 is intelligent. And this thing will continue up to Xn is intelligent. Means not every girl is intelligent, but some girls are intelligent. Means X1 is intelligent, or X2 is intelligent, or Xn is intelligent. So, what is the difference between universal quantifier and existential quantifier? In universal quantifier, x1 to xn, all variables are connected via AND. It means all. And for existential quantifier, x1 to xn, all variables are connected via OR. It means not everyone, some girls, right? So this is the basic syntactical difference between universal quantifier and existential quantifier. But why we are learning this? The ultimate aim is whenever a complex sentence or whenever a sentence like this is given to us, we could convert it into a proper FOPL representation. So for that purpose, only understanding quantifiers are not enough. We have to understand some special note about it. So what is that? See, the note is whenever we are going to represent some sentence, then we have to use some connectives also. So there is one tip, that is the main connective for universal quantifier. So whenever we are using this universal quantifier, so this thing you have to keep in mind, the main connective that we will use is implication. And whenever we are using existential quantifier, the main connective we will use is and. So this note you have to keep in mind. So whenever for a particular sentence you are using this quantifier all, then no issues, you have to use this implication connectives. So alternatively this one. So this is one note you have to keep in mind. And also you have to understand one point. Whenever I am writing for all x and all y, it is same as writing for all y and all x. So ordering does not really matter. And similarly, if I write there exists x and there exists y, it is same as writing there exists y and there exists x. So when to use this one, I will tell you. But you have to remember one point. Whenever I am writing there exists x all y, it is not same writing all y and there exists x. So whenever we have combination of these two quantifiers, then ordering really matters. So whenever we are using same types of quantifiers, then ordering does not matter. But using different kind of quantifier at that point of time, you have to keep in mind what is the ordering. So this is not same as this one. So this two note you have to keep in mind. So now let's combine together everything for representing any statement. See, say a question is given like this. All birds fly. Now we have to use all the concepts together. Now what we have to understand? First we have to identify the subject and the predicate. And this is the quantifier, right? So this one is your quantifier, this one is subject, and this one is predicate. Done? Now what we have to do? Now we have to use it. Now I'm giving you one formula. Means semantics matters, means we have to follow which order. So the rule is first write the quantifier, then write the variable, then write the subject, and then write the predicate. And at this point of time, you have to use connectives. So this formula you have to keep in mind. First quantifier, along with quantifier you have to write variable, then you have to mention the subject, then you have to use some connective, and then you have to represent the predicate. Now see, using this rule, we can easily represent this statement. See this one. So we have all over here. So all means which quantifier? Universal quantifier. And what is the symbol of universal quantifier? All. So in place of Q, I will write the quantifier all. So done. Then you have to write variable. Now here the question is why we have to use variable. See, to represent subject you have to use variable. So here we have one subject, so therefore I am using one variable. Means here I am taking one variable to represent the subject, bird. So here the variable name is x, right? So here this portion is done. Now let's talk about the subject. So now what is my subject? Here the subject is x is a bird. So that's why I have taken x as variable. It means x is a bird. Now we know that whenever any atomic statement is given to us, we have two parts, subject and predicate. So how can we represent this one? We can represent this one predicate name and then the subject. So predicate name means is a bird and then subject is X. Or we can write bird X. So I will use this one. So instead of subject, I will write what is this variable? Is variable means X is a bird. So this is the subject. So instead of subject, I'm just writing bird X. Done. So now we have to write the connective. So according to our previous discussion, whenever all is used, then the connective will be implication. So here we will use the connective as implication. And then predicate. Predicate means fly. So how to represent the predicate? Fly. Who can fly? X can fly because bird is now represented by X. So this is how you can represent the entire sentence in FOPL. So I'm giving you another example. It will be helpful to you. See, some girls are intelligent. So how to represent this one? Now we will use the same formula. What is the formula? First quantifier. So which quantifier we should use? Some. Some means there exist. So I will use this quantifier. So in place of Q, I will write there exist. Then I have to use the variable. So which variable should I use? Say I'm using one variable X. Why I am using this variable? To represent girls. So X is equal to girls. So I'm using the variable X. Now how to represent this subject? X equal to girls means X is a girl. So X is a girl means this is the subject and this is the predicate. So I will write is a girl X or I can write girl X. So this thing I will write here girl X. Then the connective. Which connective we should use according to our discussion? Whenever we have this symbol, the main connective will be and. So I will use and. And intelligent. Who is intelligent? So I will write intelligent. Who is intelligent? X is intelligent. So this is how we can represent FOPL. Now try another one. Then it will be easier for you to understand. So let's consider the third example. What was the previous example? That is all men drink tea. Now what was the formula? Quantifier, then variable, then subject, and then predicate. So try this one. First, which quantifier we should use? All means in place of Q, what we should write? All, right? Now, let's talk about variable. So which variable I should use? Say X. So why I am using this X? To represent subject, right? So X is equal to man. So here I will use the variable X. So this portion is done. Now, how to represent the subject? It means X equal to man means X is a man. So this is subject and this part is predicate. So I will write man X. So I will replace it over here. I will write man X. Now let's talk about the connective part. I am using all. So therefore, which connective we should use? The main connective will be implication. And then what is the predicate? Drinks tea. Now here you have to keep in mind that is drinks tea. So here I will write drink or drinks tea. So drinking is a part of somebody is drinking tea. Who is drinking tea? Man. Means X is drinking tea. Drinking tea. So here I will write tea. So drink tea. Now say there is one example given to you, that is some employees are sick. How could I solve this one? So I have to use this formula. Which quantifier we should use? Then what variable we should use? Means X is equal to employees. Okay, so I have used X. So what is the meaning of this? X equal to employee means X is employee. Now, how can I represent atomic sentence? This is the subject and this is the predicate. What should I write? X. So I'm just replacing it over here. Employee X. Then what connective we should use? N. Sick. Sick is the predicate. Who is sick? You have to use this formula. Now we will do another difficult one. So now the question is, say every man respects his parent. Now let's try this one. First, which quantifier we should use? Every man, all. So now the variable, which variable we should use? X equal to man. It means what? X is a man. Okay. So subject predicate. So we will write man X. Now we will replace it over here. So we will write man X. Right? Now connective. So all is used. So this will be the connective. Now this is the predicate. Respects. So respects means somebody will respect someone. Who will respect whom? X will respect parent. Done? So this is the basic formula. Quantifier, variable, then subject, then you have to use some connective and then the predicate. So this is the formula you have to keep in mind. Now help me one problem, that is Ravi is a brother of Ram. Before going into the solution, what you have to check? You have to check that first in this sentence, is there any quantifier? So quantifier is missing, right? So we are not going to use this formula. So first point is clear. Then in this statement, how many constants are there? Whenever we have simple statement, so I think you remember this one, we can represent it like predicate and then we can write terms, right? Term 1 up to term n. So we will use this syntax. So which part is the predicate in this sentence? Brother or brother of, right? So we can write predicate as brother of. I'm just using underscore. You can write it brother of together because in case of function name, there should not be any space in between. So you can write brother of or brother underscore of. Both are correct. Now terms. So how many terms we should use? I have explained that terms means a constant. So these are the terms. So I will write what? Ravi, comma, Ram. So when quantifiers are there, what should be the formula of representing sentence? And whenever quantifiers are not there, so what should be the formula of representing the statement or sentence? We know that, right? So whenever a particular English sentence is given to you, first try to identify quantifiers are there or not. If quantifiers are there, use this one, this logic. Otherwise, use this kind of fact representation.